Obviously, the thing that I hate today is this awful, awful news out of Los Angeles. Kobe Bryant and his daughter, among 9 others, were killed in this awful helicopter crash that happened over here just off of Las Virgenes. Apparently, the sort of best available information at this point suggests it was likely pilot error and not mechanical failure, although I'm sure we'll get more information about that as time goes on. It was very foggy yesterday, apparently, particularly in the area where the plane crashed. It's very hilly, so that means that if the helicopter pilot could not see the landscape, because I guess the helicopter pilot was flying beneath the cloud cover, and so if it got real foggy, he couldn't see all of a sudden, he could get disoriented. Just an awful, awful story. Listen, I'm a Celtics fan, so that meant that I spent most of my childhood hating Kobe because he was a Celtics killer, right? I mean, there was at least one championship that Kobe was responsible for stealing from Boston. He was a player where if he wasn't on your team, you loved to hate him. And if he was on your team, you loved to love him. There was nobody more beloved in the city of Los Angeles than Kobe Bryant. He's also somebody who seems to have grown over time. Obviously, he had a bunch of personal issues very early on in his career. By the time of his death, and his daughter being on the helicopter is just devastating. I mean, just the worst thing in the world. 13 years old, just horrific in every way. There's this tape that was going around yesterday of Kobe talking with his daughter, Gianna. She was the one who was on the helicopter with him. And they were talking at a basketball game. He obviously was really proud of her. This is just not very long ago at all. And Jimmy Kimmel talking about his daughter, Gianna, carrying on his basketball legacy. She was aboard the helicopter as well.
Do you think your daughter might want to play in the WNBA?
She does for sure.
She does?
I don't, I mean, this kid, man.
Wouldn't that be great?
Dude, man, I'm telling you. The best thing that happens is when we go out and fans will come up to me and she'll be standing next to me and they'll be like, hey, you got to have a boy. UNV got to have a boy, man. You have somebody carry on the tradition, the legacy. She's like, oh, I got this. Ain't no boy for that. Like, that's right. Yes, you do. You got this.
There's a tape of them a couple of weeks ago sitting at a Lakers game, and they're going over strategy, and you can see it's really quite charming. He's talking with her. She's finishing his sentences. You can see he's proud of her for how she's analyzing the game. He obviously was a good father, a caring father. There's tons of tape of him online talking about his kids and playing with his kids. They had 4 kids, he and his wife. It's just on a human level, it's truly awful. And whenever, obviously, somebody who touches this many people, it's easy to say, oh, a celebrity died, who cares? The same thing as anybody else dying. The reality is that celebrities do touch people's lives because you make them a part of your life. Like, oh, it's just awful. It's just so terrible. When somebody who's a celebrity dies, you shouldn't feel bad about feeling terrible about it. They're a part of your life. They're somebody you spent time with. They're somebody you welcomed into your home. And the fact is that even if you love to hate Kobe as a player, the man was an unbelievable basketball player, and it seems like a pretty terrific father. In the last couple of years he retired. He'll be, I'm sure, inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame for what's that worth, posthumously. Here's a little bit of tape from Kobe's last game. He retired. His final game, of course, was a very Kobe game, right? He scored 60 points in his final game. He was leading a very bad Lakers team to a victory in that final year. And he was badly injured a couple of years before he retired. Here's a little bit of footage from Kobe's last game, if we've got that.
A basket equals a 50-point game. Kobe underneath. He's got 51! A 2-possession game. Here's his 19th field goal, Stu. 56 points!
Are you kidding me?
The amazing Kobe Bryant.
You've got to be kidding me.
So last night in the NBA, there were a bunch of teams, because he was number 24, there were a bunch of teams that traded 24-second violations. For folks who don't watch basketball, you have 24 seconds to bring the ball down court and take a shot and hit the rim. And so there were a bunch of teams all around the NBA where they opened the game by dribbling out the clock, the 24 seconds, and then the other team would take the ball and dribble out the clock. Obviously, it was a terrible story when you found out that Kobe was on the helicopter. The story got an enormous amount worse when you found out that his daughter was on the helicopter as well. You just got to feel for the family today. You got to feel, I mean, really, stuff like this is so far apart from politics that it's not even worth discussing politics. There are people today who are very upset with Trump for having tweeted about it. That's very silly. Again, obviously, when somebody who is a major figure dies, and whether you like Kobe or whether you didn't like Kobe, guy was a major figure. When that happens, it's worth taking time to actually pause and appraise, especially because it is true that we spend an awful lot of our lives sort of denying the reality of what's coming for all of us. When something like this happens really suddenly, it's really quite awful. And really, we should all be praying for the Bryant family tonight, particularly His wife, who lost not only a husband, but also lost a child, which is just the most unthinkable thing that can happen. I'm a parent as well. If you're a parent, you know that even the thought of that is like the worst thing that could possibly happen. And because I'm from Los Angeles, this is, a big thing in LA. I remember yesterday I happened to be at a kid's birthday party, and the news started to go around at the kid's birthday party, and it was pretty awful. I mean, the whole thing is really, really awful. So again, prayers for the Bryant family, and prayers for all of us. Really, really bad stuff. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all of our future content.